We want to talk about night flying. Don't completely trust your senses. Check your own perception. So on departure, just some ideas. You should allow enough time to dark adapt. Avoid bright lights for at least 30 minutes. And again, I'm just racing through stuff that I'd normally take several hours to tell my students about. Don't stare at the taxiway center line. Look to the edge and make sure you're not taxiing too fast. Use an airport diagram. If you're at an unfamiliar airport, request progressive taxi instructions. That's very helpful. Perform a compass check on every takeoff. That's what RJ did not do. They were out 30 some odd degrees, and if they would have just aligned their compass and heading with the runway direction, they would have seen the discrepancy. Again, depart over well-lit terrain. If you aren't, and you're departing over darkness, you really, even though you're VFR, you really have to use your instruments until outside visual references are unambiguous again, and then you'll be able to fly going outside. But really, having an instrument rating and flying by instruments, that's the best way to fly at night, okay? Again, fly over well-lit terrain. Cultural lights, or man-made lights, or a full moon or close to a full moon is possible. Minimum safe altitudes, we talked about this earlier a little bit. Don't fly in the mountains at night. Determine beforehand if an airport is conducive to illusions. You can actually, sometimes the AFD will tell you certain things about these particular runways. Get instruction at airports that might be conducive to illusions. Just make sure you pick the right instructor. It actually does reduce the home drone syndrome if you get experienced in varying size runways. So the more different sizes and shapes you can get, the easier it is to not be fooled by these illusions. How many have done long straight-in approaches in the daytime? I end up always getting too low, even in the day. Imagine what it's like at night when there's no optic flow beneath you. You can use runway approach slope indicators like the VASIs and all that. You can see them if the conditions are right and you're lined up right. You can see them for many miles, but they're only, there's my 5-minute warning, but they're only really good for obstacle clearance within about 4 miles of the airport. There you go, you remember all this. You should use an ILS, or if you have something comparable with your GPS, fly it right down to threshold crossing height, even though you're VFR and it's dark. If ATC gives you a visual approach, don't accept the visual approach. But if you can't accept the visual approach, they want you to have a visual approach, then just use your instruments right down to threshold crossing height, or the external VASI, even though you're doing a visual approach. Okay. You can also do this. This is kind of interesting. If you're stuck, let's say you want to come in at a 5-degree glide slope. Small airplanes usually come in around 4 degrees, 5 degrees, maybe, usually not 3, but depends on the airplane. If you're about 500 feet per nautical mile from the threshold, and you come in at a constant rate, you'll be on a 5-degree slope. Same with a 3-degree. If you can fly your airplane at 60 knots ground speed, not air speed, so if you have a 70 knot approach speed and you've got a 10 knot headwind, you can actually do a 500 foot per minute descent, will give you an approximately a 5-degree slope angle. Not all airplanes can fly that slope, so something to keep in mind. Here's an example of how it works. You've got the runway here is, let's say, a mile long, so you just sort of tip that runway over in your eyes. Okay, I'm back here a mile. This is the altitude is 1,400 feet, so you put yourself at 1,900 feet, a mile back, and then you just come in. This airplane's coming in at 60 knots, it should say ground speed, and so they're just coming in at a 500 foot per minute rate of descent. It's kind of a last resort, and I'd probably do this in the daytime before I do it at night. And by the way, I would fly at an airport in the daytime before I ever fly at night too, especially if it's VFR. IFR might be a different story. So just be aware of these illusions. They are real, they can happen. Most accidents that I've seen over the years happen to normal people. And most of us here anyway, are all normal, as far as I know. And it's because we have normal human limitations. You know, like one book I read said that the aircraft has advanced so much more in the last 100 years, whereas humans haven't advanced that much in the last 100,000. So we have limitations. You know, if man were meant to fly, he would have been made with wings. Well, we poo-pooed that way back when, and we've shown that we can fly. We can fly faster and longer, possibly, maybe not longer. The Albatross flies a long time, and higher, but we don't have wings. And so it's a different environment, flight. It's not a natural environment for a human being. We can certainly fly safe. We just need to be aware of the limitations that we have. And I like what my pal Ron here mentioned to me. We have limitations. The aircraft has limitations. The more we're aware of what those limitations are, the safer we're going to be. My book. If you just go to the Central Washington University website, the aviation department, you poke around, you'll find me, and you can find some more information on some of this stuff. So thank you very much. If you want to see me for questions, because we're in the interest of time, see me during the break or some other time, and I'll be glad to answer them. Thanks.